What's up, guys? So we'll be going over Hundo Hunter's P2DL Mythic Division National Dex Draft Analysis. Um, so just like the BTDL, we're gonna be going over this one very similarly to that one. And this one, I really like the way it turned out. In power rankings, I got placed in 4th, which is higher than I've been placed before. So I think this team has very high potential, and I think it turned out good. So in this draft league, the tiers are very high. There are many Ubers that would normally be banned, such as Garatina. There might have been, I believe there was Palkia and Dialga. There were most of the box art legendaries and some other ones too, like Genesect. Just a lot of options. And for those high tier Ubers, you can only choose one per team. So I was lucky and I got 3rd pick in the overall draft, so I got a large variety. And I think I picked a very good choice, and I'll just show you how it ended up. So for our first pick, I decided to go with Fluttermane. Now, Fluttermane is an amazing Pokemon. It's a great special breaker with a huge 135 special attack stat, which absolutely mauls through everything. And it's also an amazing special wall at 135 special defense as well. So on the special side, it can also tank hits very well. The HP doesn't help, but the special defense alone can eat stuff. An amazing speed tier at 135. It can outspeed some 130 things. It can also have photosynthesis and boost speed, and then it can outspeed almost anything, unless it's scarfed and it's still really fast, such as Dragapult. But even in that case, it wouldn't be very common. And then also there's a huge mix of sets on this thing. You can run a more bulky leftovers Calm Mind set. You could run a Choice Specs sweeper set. You could run, I don't know, some support stuff like Taunt, I think it gets. And then, yeah, and just stuff like that. But overall, I am very excited to use this. It seems like an amazing Pokemon. And yeah, I'm just excited to use it. For my second pick, I decided to go with another Past Paradox Pokemon in Roaring Moon. Now, Roaring Moon is almost the opposite to Fluttermane, where not the opposite, but on the opposite side of the spectrum. So, instead of being a very, very fast special attacker, this is a still pretty fast and very physically attacking. It can break defensive cores very easily with its move pool. I believe it gets Earthquake. I know it gets Iron Head. Gets some other stuff too. Oh, just really good. It's a very good setup sleeper too, as it has the move Dragon Dance, which will boost its attack and speed, making it easier to take KOs when it's needed. It's a pivot option as well, as it has the move U-Turn, which is a 70 base power physical move. That's bug type. That switches out the user when it hits the opponent. So we'll be able to get some okay damage onto an opponent, then we'll be able to switch out quickly. And something I didn't realize before this, but it's actually really bulky on the special side. 105 HP and 101 special defense is not bad at all. I might not be on par, but it's pretty, if it isn't on par, it's pretty close to Fluttermane in that sense. But overall, just a Pokemon that seems like, just like Flutter, it's going to be really fun to use. It also has a good speed tier at 119, forcing 120 speed mons to having to run max speed to make sure to, so I can't speed creep them. So yeah, I think it's gonna turn out well. This is the only mon I've used before so far. I've never used Flutter. Then this next mon I also haven't used, and that would be Terra Ogre Pontiel. Now, most leagues would not allow Ogre Pontiel to be Terra, which there's good reason for it. I think at this point Flutter was maybe 23 points. Roaring Moon was 19 points, and if I wanted to have Ogre Pontiel as a Terra, I would need to have it as 19 again. So I already blew through 60 points in the first 3 picks. So that was shocking to me. So, but I'm not angry by any means. This thing is broken. It's a sweeper. After it Terras, it gets a +1 speed boost. So then its 100 base 110 speed goes up to 165. Yeah. 165 base speed after the speed boost. So that makes it be able to outspeed almost anything besides Deoxys Speed and Regieleki, I think. And it can also use the move Swords Dance to just completely destroy teams. It's another pivot with the move U-Turn that Roaring Moon also has. It is a physical breaker just like Roaring Moon. As 120 base attack times 2 from Swords Dance can result in it just winning games on its own. There is so much item variety on this thing. You could run Choice Band Terra. You could run Scope Lens because its signature move Ivy Cudgel has a heightened crit boost. So it, I think, goes up to like 80% to crit. So like if it's a setup Pokemon that can just sweep teams, and it boosts up its defense, this can just completely do a ton of damage to it with critting it. It could also run like certain berries if it needs to. It can run leftovers if I want a more bulky set. Just a ton of variety on the items. For our pick number 4, we have a great one. We have Torkoal, which it more isn't necessarily to do damage on its own, but help its teammates because it's a Sunsetter, which, if you don't know, Fluttermane and Roaring Moon have the ability Photosynthesis, which their highest stat at the time gets boosted if Sun is up or if they're holding the booster energy item. So this will boost both of them. Most of the time it's going to be Roaring Moon's attack, and most of the time it's going to be Fluttermane's speed. This will also help another Pokemon I pick later on. Besides the Sun. It can also use the move Rapid Spin, which gets rid of hazards on my side, so I can switch in safely. It is a Rock Setter, using the move Stealth Rocks to set up hazards on the other side. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, it just helps other Pokemon. It doesn't necessarily do a ton itself. It's more of a supporting cast, because you can also use the Eject Pack item. So if it gets hit by a move, then it switches out. So it's like kind of a U-turn, except you don't attack. And if it's on the physical side, I think I'm gonna be living it just fine with my 140 defense and 70 HP. So yeah, this I think it's gonna go well here. For pick number 5, I decided to go with Vaporeon. Vaporeon, aside from the, it's a very good Pokemon. It's a Wish Passer, so it can use the move Wish, then Flip Turn. Wish is a move that heals half of the user's HP after one turn, and you can use that onto another Pokemon. And Flip Turn is just like U-Turn, except base 60 water move. So I can use Wish, then Flip Turn out into, let's just say, Roaring Moon, and then let's just say Roaring Moon's at 33%. And then Wish would heal it all the way back up to 83. I also have I have another Ice Resist, which at the time was very good as my two big offensive threats, Ogerpon, and my two physical offensive threats, Ogerpon and Roaring Moon, are both weak to ice. So it's nice having a resist there. It's also for the Fire, Water, Grass core, which is a very good offensive and defensive core, which, if you don't know it, it's using a fire type, a water type, and a grass type, because with those 3 types, I believe at least, I think they can hit every single type in the game at least neutrally besides Dragon. And that is very good, as they can just switch between each other, because Ogerpon gets U-turn, Vaporeon gets Flip Turn, and Torkoal is pretty common to use Eject Pack. But yeah, Vaporeon, another supporting mon, but 110 base special attack is not bad by any means. I could see this being a choice spec Pokemon some matches if I see a need to. But yeah, I like it. Probably gonna see some use most weeks. For our pick number 6, we have Mienshao. I know this might sound a little repetitive at this point, but it's another pivot Pokemon with the move U-turn yet again. Except Mienshao's ability makes it better for U-turning. It has the ability Regenerator, which when it switches out, it heals 1/3 of its HP for when it comes in. So if it uses U-turn and it's currently at, let's just say, 50% health, switches out, and then when it comes back in, it's going to be at 83%. And then it can U-turn again. And then at that time, when it switches back in, it'll be at 100%. So just really good for doing that. It's a good speed tier, just outspeeding base 100 mons and a few things above it, like Garchomp. Yeah, also forcing Pokemon that are like base 110 to run max speed, so it doesn't get outsped by it. It's also a good choice locker. What I mean by that is there's 3 choice items. There's choice scarf, choice band, and choice specs. All of them boost either your speed for scarf, your attack for band, or special attack for specs by 1.5. So it'll multiply whatever your current stat is by 1.5. But the callback is that you can only select one move for that switch in. So Choice Scarf works good on this thing if it needs to outspeed some like really fast Pokemon, like let's just say Dragabolt. It needs to get a U-turn in to switch out. If I'm running Choice Scarf, I can outspeed it, yet also get out. If I'm playing a matchup where I really need the damage, but I still outspeed, that's where I might want to run a Choice Band, where it multiplies my attack by 1.5. So let's just say, maybe, a Thunderous Therian. I might close combat might kill with Terra Fighting. I mean, not Terra Fighting. Choice Band close combat with max attack. It might kill. It might not. But no matter what, it's going to be doing more damage than it was before. Oh yeah, this Pokemon's also very good at using choice. I mean, not choice. Assault Vest and Life Orb, as Life Orb gives a damage boost, but it hurts the user by 10%, which doesn't sound great, but it doesn't matter much with Mienshao because of Regenerator. And Assault Vest makes it so I can't click status moves, which Mienshao doesn't usually click anyway. Then for the pick 7, we have another returning Pokemon from P2DL, and that is Rotom Frost. I know I just said it was getting repetitive, but we have another pivot. So, this time it's a special pivot move. I mean, not special, like it's out of the ordinary, but a special move. So it's Volt Switch, so it's an electric type base 70 base power electric special move, where it switches out just like U-turn. So that's nice to just come in really quick, then just get out right away. This Rotom also has Bolt Beat coverage, which if you do not know what that is, it is the electric and ice move combination. A good amount of Pokemon have it. It's just not many Pokemon have the actual typing for it. Rotom Frost, I believe, is one of the only 2 Pokemon with the electric and ice type. And the reason why electric and ice are so good offensively, there isn't a single type that resists both. So, like, let's just say Steel, the most defensive type in the game. It resists ice, yes, but it is neutral to electric. So, it doesn't mind that. And something like Dragon, which resists electric, that's where it's weak to ice. So it's just really good offensive synergy. Yet again, another really good choice locker with either choice specs, like I said before, 1.5 the special attack, or choice scarf, 1.5 the speed, because Rotom doesn't have a great speed tier. It's just below base 100. Yet some stuff is slower than it, so it needs to prep for that. So, not a place you want to be with speed. And then the last thing is good bulk. Since 50 HP is not good, but 107 on both sides of defense are definitely respectable, at the least. And so it can tank some hits, but maybe not like a ton, just because its type is also really weak. So, yeah, overall, it's just really good. Another well-rounded Pokemon. For pick 8, this might seem a little bit early, but I chose Spidops, specifically Terra Spidops. Reason for Terra is I didn't really need Terra. It's just I didn't have a reason not to Terra it, so I just used it. Spidops does one thing and like one thing only, and that is hazards. I know it gets it gets access to the move Sticky Web, which on entry, any Pokemon on the ground on the opponent's side will lose 1 speed. I know it gets Toxic Spikes, where if 1 layer is up and the opponent switches in and is grounded, they will be poisoned, and if 2 layers are up, they will be toxic, which does more poison damage each turn. It also gets some regular spikes, where with 1 layer, I believe, same thing applies. They have to be grounded. But for normal spikes, I believe it's 6% on the first one, 6.25% of the HP on the first layer, 12.5 on the second layer, and then 25% of their HP on the third layer. It has okay bulk, 60 HP, 90 defense, 86 special defense is not great by any means, but like it can take a few things, not much though. It's another pivot with U-turn again. So it has that going for it, I guess. It has knockoff, so that just takes away the opponent's item. So let's just say they were running choice specs. They would no longer get the attack boost, the special attack boost, but they also would not be locked in. So there are some times where it's good, but also sometimes where it's bad. But yeah, nothing much to say about it. Just meh, man. Coming on at the end, this isn't the last one, but almost. My pick 9 was Reverum. Yet another Pokemon that is returning from P2DL. I know I said it's getting old, but guess what? It's another pivot with the move Parting Shot, which lowers the opponent's special attack and attack as it switches out. So that is pretty good. It has good bulk. The stats don't look great. 80 HP, 90 defense, 67 special defense. Doesn't look great, but it also gets the ability Filter, which causes it to take only 3/4 of the damage it would have taken. Instead of the full 100%, only take 75% on super effective hits. So if it were to be super effective, it's not as bad. It's also a sweeper with shift gear, boosting its speed by 2 stats and its attack by 1 stat, and just make it really dangerous to deal with. So if it gets set up a lot, you do not want to deal with it, because it does big damage once it's set up. It also has a lot of disruption. Like I was saying, it has Parting Shot, which can switch me out, yet also lowering stats. It also gets to move Haze, which removes all stat boosts from both Pokemon. Which, I don't spoil it right now, because I'm going to make a video on it, probably. But I already played week 1 of this league, and Haze already came into play, and it didn't save me, but it held them off longer. But yeah, it's a fun mount. Another mount I love from Gen 9. And last, but definitely not least, for my pick number 10, Terra Venusaur. So, this was the other Pokemon I was talking about with Torkoal helping, as Venusaur gets the ability Chlorophyll. What Chlorophyll does is, in the sun, its speed is doubled. So, it can just move really fast, which 80 speed isn't a lot, but 160 speed is a ton. So you can invest more into the special attack. And it can just be 100 special attack is okay, but with stuff like Life Orb and Choice Specs, it can do a ton of damage and just lay out stuff. It has coverage with obviously Terra Blast. I know it has grass and poison, and I know ground. I don't recall anything else off the top of my head, but the fact that it has ground coverage is a huge deal, because most chlorophyll Pokemon cannot hit steel types. The one other Pokemon that has chlorophyll that can hit steel types is Scovillain. But the problem is Scovillain only has fire and grass moves, so it can't do anything against dragon type Pokemon. I mean, it can Terra Blast, but still, I don't want to be relying on that. Like I was saying, not bad coverage. It has pretty good bulk, especially on the special side. It has 80 HP, 83 defense, 100 special defense. It can tank a good amount of hits. It can run Leftovers, Leech Seed, if I want to just heal up some stuff if one game, and not want to do much. And I'll use Substitute too. Like I was saying, it's good at doing damage as a special breaker. Choice Specs can be detrimental to teams if it gets out of hand, because if I choose an offensive tier type like Ice, and I start doing damage with it to a team, and I'm Choice Specs, and they don't have an Ice resist, I might just win on the spot. But yeah, I think that will wrap up my P2DL draft summary for Mythic Division. I am very excited for this season. Some returning faces, a lot of new ones. I think it's going to be a very interesting season. But I'm just going to run through the team one more time, give a quick summary. Fluttermane, fast, and broken on attacking. Roaring Moon, a sweeper that just does amazing damage on the physical side. Ogerpon, another sweeper that does a ton on the physical side. Torkoal, Sunsetter, and Rocksetter to help other Pokemon. Vaporeon, Wishpasser, and bulky Pokemon. Mienshao, a very offensive pivot. Rotom Frost, more offensive based defensive typing with the ability Levitate. Terraspytops, Hazards, that's it. Reverum, everything. I'm just gonna say that. It can be pivot, bulk, super, disruption, anything. Venusaur, big damage output, also very big bulk. So with that concludes my draft analysis. I hope to see you in the next video, and have a good day.